Today I'm going to be talking about copy decks, a copywriter's guide to copy decks. And this is basically how to present your copywriting or any of your work really so that your clients actually love you and it before they've really got into it. So the first thing I want to explain is what is a copy deck. And the copy deck is basically a template that you use to present your work to clients. Now, a copy deck serves a couple of purposes. When I first started out as a copywriter, I used to just kind of send my copy over in a Word document and I didn't really think too much of it. But then as I got more experienced and to be honest, I had a couple of things go wrong, I realized that copywriting gets passed around when you hand it. Often you're working with one business owner, but you might be working with a marketing team, for example. But even if you're working with one business owner, they often give the copy to their partner to read. Marketing teams can pass it around. It goes to the boss. It comes back. So what you need to do is make sure that every contact point you have with anyone is branded and professional. But that's not the only point of a copy deck. A copy deck actually makes your copy easier to read because that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that your client isn't distracted with a lot of mess on the page, so they can read your copy in the manner that it's intended. The other thing a copy deck will do is make sure your copy is easy to implement. So the developers or the graphic designers that have to work with a copy will love you for that as well. And as I mentioned, a copy deck just makes you look professional. So what I want to do, this is actually a Periscope about my blog post this week. So if you want to read the blog post, because there's some snazzy little images and stuff, you can go to copyrightmatters.com and head to the blog and you'll see it there. It's pretty much got the same title, Copywriter's Guide to Copy Decks. So you can read the full thing there. Now, what I have in my copy deck, I like to keep it relatively simple. I know some copywriters have copy decks that have a lot in them. I like to keep mine simple because, as I mentioned, I don't want my client distracted from the words that I'm presenting them with. So I have a table in a Word document, and the header to the table basically has the project name, the client name, the contact person, the date and the version number, and then I have notes and the copy. So it's a very simple thing. Now, the reason I have the project name is that if I'm working on a few different things for a client, maybe I'm doing their website copy and their brochure, they need to be able to differentiate, like work out what they're looking at. I also have the client business name and the contact person. The reason I have the contact person's name is if the copy is getting passed around a company or a business or anything like that, they always know who it goes back to. It also reinforces the idea that there's one person responsible for revisions. Smart, yeah? So the other thing is the date and the version. So you'll often with your copywriting have multiple revisions allowed in your quote. I always have 3 revisions, no more. And it helps keep track of which version you're at. So I might have the date version 1 of 3, the date version 2 of 3, the date version 3 of 3. And again, it just reinforces the idea that you're moving forward in the service that you're delivering. Now, I want to talk about notes for just a minute. I always include notes with my copywriting because this is something, thank you for our hearts, this is something that I highlight in the blog, that as a copywriter, you are getting hired for your expertise. And sometimes the copy you're writing seems quite straightforward, but that doesn't mean that it didn't require any skill to write. So if you can include some notes on your approach, maybe you want to reiterate the objectives of the project, the tone of voice that the client asked for, a few of those things to sort of say, hey, this is what you asked for. And so they can see that that's what you delivered. But you might want to explain a specific approach that you took and give some reasons for that approach. As I said, you're being hired for your expertise, and sometimes explaining your thought process can really reinforce that expertise that you've been hired for. So just to recap, the header of my copy deck always has project name, client name, contact name, date and version, and notes, and then I have the copy. Now, of course, for online copywriting, you'll have things like the title and description tags, maybe a URL, and also links. Now, I put links at the bottom of the copy, and in the copy I just put an underline to show that that's a link, and then in a few elements under the table I put which words are being links, sometimes called the anchor text, well, always called the anchor text actually, which words are being linked and where they're linking to. Now, I put them outside the copy, after the copy, because if you put URLs and like this is a link linking to this URL in the copy, it slows the person down reading it. It's really, really distracting. And when you've crafted beautiful, beautiful copy, you don't want URLs clogging that flow up. So put things like your links and your URLs after the copy, or at least somewhere separate. But the reason you want them in there is a developer, a website developer, needs to know which text is going to be a link and where it goes to, and they love you for including that kind of link information. What else have I got in my copy deck? I've got the header, I've got the copy, I've got the notes to explain it all, and the beauty of this is it's all nicely laid out. It's easy to read. As I said, you never want to distract your client from the copy that you're providing them. You can include some notes on this, is if it's a brochure, maybe this is the first panel, back panel, emails, subject lines, stuff like that. But you don't want to make sure it's really clear and clean and straightforward for them to read. Now, the other element of a good copy deck is branding, which is something I mentioned at the beginning. And you want to make sure every page of that mofo is branded, has your logo, has your name, has your phone number, your email, maybe in Australia, your ABN. Thanks very much for the hearts there. I do appreciate it, and I am watching. The reason you want to brand it and make sure that your contact details are on every single page is if it gets passed around. Maybe the first page gets separated from the last page. People need to know who to get in touch with, because say your client picks the copy up off their desk and there's 30 other documents and they've been really busy, and they pick it up and they're like, who wrote this again? What was the copywriter's name? And I have to go fishing through their email. It's just, anything you can do to make your client's life easier, they will love you for it. So presenting your copy in a really straightforward, easy to read copy deck is step one. Branding the mofo out of it to make sure you're always, your contact details are always visible. Step two. When you do those things together, that's a really professional copy deck. But you can level it up. Now, this is something I added. I nicked it from another copywriter, Charles Cunningham. Thank you, Charles. Credit to you for this, is giving them some feedback instructions, because some clients just don't know how to give you feedback. And I totally get that. I know when I have graphic design work needing to be done, I'm like, I don't know how to structure or articulate my ideas and my feedback on this. And you'll find a lot of copywriting clients are exactly the same. So you can include, like maybe you include a cover page with some branding and the project details and stuff like that. And then you have a page with some tips on including feedback. Now, I've actually copied what I have in my copy deck, and it's on the blog. So once again, if you go to copyrightmatters.com and head to the blog, find this post, and you can see a little blurb that I include in my copy deck to give people some structure for how they give their feedback. Gemma, thanks very much. She says that's a great idea. As I said, it'll just circumvent the feedback that is, oh, I don't really like it, but I can't tell you why. That's really, really frustrating. And it's frustrating. Nick this advice. Do, Gemma, head to the blog. You can actually nick the whole blurb. I put it all on the blog. So copyrightmatters.com and head to the blog. This is not because clients are rubbish. It's just that they're hiring you because they can't do this themselves. They may have never worked with a copywriter before, and you need to make their life easier. The easier you can make their experience working with you, the more likely they are to come back to you. So help them give you constructive feedback. So as I said, I've got a couple of questions I ask. Is the tone of voice right? Is the information accurate? Are there any phrases that you don't feel flow well? Stuff like that. And when you do that, it gives them a framework within they can give you some constructive feedback, which is exactly what you want as a copywriter. helps you whiz through those revision phrases. So, some copywriters as well include design notes. To be honest, I've just stick to the words. Design is not my forte. I leave that to designers. But if you have some design skills, then maybe you want to add some suggestions on how the copy is implemented. And you could put that in your copy deck. Maybe you include another section. But all in all, you want to make sure that your reader, your client, isn't distracted from the copy you've written, has all the information they need to give you revisions, and that the copy is easy to implement with your help. Oh, and it's branded like a mofo. So there's 4 big things that your copy deck needs to do. And that's it. A copywriter's guide to copy decks. Now, thank you very much for the hearts. I like to provide enough information that you can simply go forth and be awesome with this. Gemma says, fab. Yes, I will head to the blog. Excellent. Now, if you're watching this on the replay, or maybe you missed it, you saw it on Twitter, and Periscope's only around for an hour, 24 hours. You can actually catch this on YouTube. Thanks, Emma. I record this. Oh, Gemma says perfect info just at the right time for me. It's because I'm secretly in your brain, Gemma. I know. But no, I record these and I put them on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you search for Copyright Matters TV, you can actually catch all my previous Periscopes. You can watch this one again and again and again if you want. But you can catch all my previous Periscopes. And I'd love to see you here next week. Same time, same bat channel. So often on my little Periscopes, I have a little cheeky something or other off to the side because, Thursday, practically Friday. Another week in the bag.